Hello crypto friends, just want to let everybody know that the chart guys are now on steemit.com. Steemit.com is in the early stages of being a YouTube disruptor in the sense that it is based on the cryptocurrency space and it's a different model of sharing for content users and providers. So we will be posting stuff there from now on, and we will also eventually be posting some Steemit exclusive content. So hop on over, create an account. You can find us at steemit.com/@TheChartGuys and start interacting, and let's see what we can build together as a community. Let's get on to the charts. Hello everyone, checking in on the usual suspects. Hope you're having a good weekend. It's Sunday night here on the East Coast. We've got holidays in Canada, we got holidays coming up in the US, and we've got some nice bullish shorter term trading the past day, so life is good. So let's start it off with Ethereum, then we'll go Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Golem. I am going to be doing a live webcam either Monday or Tuesday. Honestly, I don't have a time or a day set down right now. I just know it'll be sometime in that window of that 2-day period. And I'll give as much heads up as I can, but I'm just going to go over how to set up TradingView in terms of your chart. That'll be real quick. Then I'll go over my usual rundown of these names, and then I will take requests to look at altcoins, and we can just generally talk about the space and where we are going to be headed from here. And I always like interacting with you all, so that's a little bit of extra fun. So let's go into Ethereum, and we're going to start on the weekly time frames for everything and then zoom in. So Ethereum here on the weekly time frame, because we did just close these weekly candlesticks. This is a bullish candlestick. It shows indecision. It shows a battle with an upper wick and a lower wick, showing the bulls buying the dip but getting rejected by the bears. It shows indecision. When you have a doji, this isn't exactly a doji, but it's pretty close. It would more likely be a spinning top, but it shows indecision. And when it was at the top of the uptrend, it was a bearish reversal spinning top candlestick. And now after we've consolidated for 2 weeks, I interpret this as bullish. And that is because it shows the bulls buying the dip. It shows our new low of support. We can put this line down here, the low of the week, that 206 level that we bounced off of. And in terms of resistance, we can put that at the high of the week just to keep an eye on things. That's up at 320, 369. That being said, the daily chart has all the information that we need on these time frames to be watching because these patterns are so very clear. So what we have forming is what we anticipated to form. After the dump, we set our low, we had a bounce, and we set another lower high. I was looking for a lower high compared to this bounce attempt. That was 333. We had a bounce, and we topped out at 324, and I'm rounding here just to make things easy. So we topped out at 324, and then we started to pull back. So we had our pullback, our low, lower high, and then we pulled back and formed our higher low just yesterday. And we'll go over some indications that we saw that had us look for that shift in momentum, and I'll point out some trades that we made. I've been trading solely ETH here on this way up. I've been trading Golem a little bit as well, but haven't been trading Bitcoin and Litecoin just because I've been really feeling in the zone with Ethereum, and I like the way it trades, and I feel like I understand the way it trades best because that's what I'm watching the most. That's what I'm the most comfortable in. So we pulled back, we set our higher low now, and now we're looking for another lower high, and we're going to tighten up and see this volume continue to drop off. Again, that equilibrium pattern, if you're watching these videos, you've heard this 600 times at this point. It's on every time frame, and now we're seeing it on the daily. So what I am watching is a short-term little triangle pattern. I'm more interested in the price levels than I am the trend lines, but I draw them just to have the visualization. I don't always act on the breaks of them, so I'm making sure no candlestick closes below the uptrend line, and I'm making sure no candlestick closes above the downtrend line. And what we have here is this little higher low, lower high pattern, a little pennant chart, and we're going to be watching for a break in this pattern sometime, maybe even over the holiday, sometime midweek. So looking at it on a different perspective, let's zoom in. I've been liking this 4-hour chart a lot, and it shows it more clearly in my opinion. So that's the high, that's the low, lower high, higher low. Let's put a support line up there on that higher low today. And then we're heading up and likely setting a lower high. So our target for this move for Ethereum was 295. I bounced around a little bit. I might have said 305. Basically just looking for right around the 300 psychological level for this bounce. And it's much easier to estimate where we're going to bounce, knowing that how common this equilibrium pattern is and anticipating that that is going to be the pattern we find ourselves in. Once we set our higher low and we're confident that that higher low has been set, we can then estimate, okay, where are we going to go from there to set a lower high? And that 300 psychological level really stood out to me because that really fits in the pattern, and those psychological numbers always act as a bit of a magnet. So what we had is a couple signals. First signal on the 4-hour time frame, inside bars, learn inside bars, learn how to utilize them, they are definitely beneficial and they're very simple. So an inside bar is a wide range. We had the range of the next candlestick fit completely within it. I don't care where it opens and closes. I care about the high and the low. So we had an inside bar, we had another inside bar, a second one in a row as the volume continued to drop off and the range tightened. And we found that we had a break of that second inside bar. As soon as 263.49 broke, we had a bull signal. And I actually wasn't watching these inside bars on these 4-hour charts. I missed that, but I did enter in the mid 260s based on the hourly chart, which gave that signal as well. So looking in even further now at the hourly chart as to when we had that higher low established. So we were pulling back, and in the last video what I said was, if we break this level, it is a red flag short term and we need to see further downside. And that was a level of 260. That was a key support. And we saw a break of that point. So we had to be very cautious and we were patient. And I'm not trying to time the bottom. I don't care if I hit the bottom. Obviously it would be nice, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm waiting until the bulls prove momentum to me and prove things are turned around. Because if I'm trying to buy in on the way down and just then trying to hold and say, oh, I'll wait till we go up again. Number one, my money is stagnant. Number two, I'm potentially in the red while I have to wait patiently. And number three, that's it. We're in the red. So if I wait for the bull momentum to show up, I'm profitable right away. And I can breathe very easy. I can set stop loss levels. I can be more comfortable maybe walking away from the screen for an hour or so. But it is really important to have that momentum in your favor. So what we saw here on this chart was a continued lower high, lower low pattern with the bulls attempting to turn things around. And what we saw was a low, lower high continuing the pattern. Then we formed a higher low. So now we start paying attention. Okay, our higher low has formed. If we can break our recent high of 264.97, then we see a higher low and a higher high turning things around. And we had not seen that at any point on the way down. We saw a couple little higher low attempts, but never any follow through in terms of breaking the lower high pattern. So that break of 264.97, that's when I made my initial entry. And actually, I take that back, but that was an initial signal. And we then saw a move to the upside and consolidated, and this was overnight. And I actually missed this initial bull break for sleeping, and I got in on this pullback, this consolidation, anticipating that because we had a higher low and a higher high already formed, and because the bull volume was behind that higher high, that we would form another higher low and see this move continue. So I made an entry here in the mid 260s, and I was in a little bit of red, holding and waiting for the bulls to show up. But I looked at the 4-hour chart, and it was really comforting to me to see this candlestick right here, this doji forming, because we saw a bounce and just another lower high with a big upper wick like we had seen back here in the past. But once we saw the higher low of bulls buying the dip, that gave me more confidence, and then the bull volume showed up. You can see huge bull volume and huge follow through. So my target, once we had that higher low and higher high, and we knew that 253 was going to be our higher low on the daily time frame, set the target at 295, I believe was my initial target, and we were looking for a move up to that level. So as we got closer and closer, I've been locking profits in all day and just being very cautious as always, because I really like, you know, the profit I've made in the past 2 months. I'm still playing with a lot of that, and I'm just looking for base hits. I'm just looking to rack it up and make an income here every week and just keep it consistent, keep that money coming in. And again, I don't care if I hit bottom. I don't care if I hit top. I want solid numbers. And as soon as we started approaching my target on this first move to the upside, we got very extended on the shorter term time frames. And I'm looking in now on the 5-minute time frame. And let's look back to that initial pop, which is when I was exiting my positions. And the RSI on the 5-minute time frame was up in the upper 80s, up at 86, 87. So I exited a position here on the way up. And so that was mid 260s to upper 270s. And then I initiated trying to get back in on consolidation, and I only got filled about a third of my position, and then sold that one on the way up, and then did re-enter again. Let's look at where that other re-entry was. So we consolidated back down. I saw a very key support level, and that was at 275. And why that level was so important is because we consolidated, we bounced off 275 when I only got a third of my order refilled. I had my other orders down at 272, 273, 271, didn't get down to those levels. So I only got a third. We bounced, sold on the way up. Then we had significant consolidation again, and it looked like, uh-oh, is this our top? but the bulls held this support, 275.37, 275.49. That's now essentially a double bottom of key support of consolidation. And then from there, we started to turn things around. I thought maybe this is a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern, so I was cautious here again. As soon as we broke to higher highs and we broke the high of the left shoulder and the high of the right shoulder that had already been developed at that point, that made it a lot less likely, and the bulls started showing up. So I made my another entry here at the break of the mid 280s, 285, 286, because the bull volume started coming in. We broke and continued higher lows and higher highs, and I knew that we just had to break 288.50, and we had the volume to back it up, and you can see we blew through that resistance. I exited in the mid 290s, and again, if I if I didn't sell it all and I just sold at my target of well, actually we didn't hit 295, so I'd still be holding, but I'm leaving a few dollars on the table, locking in overbought conditions, not wanting to be left holding the bag when we're at the top, and just ensuring that I'm mostly cash, but I'm locking in profit on the way up. And that's really all that I want to be doing at this point to remain cautious. So now that we have started pulling back, had I bought in the upper 280s, I'd be down $8 right now, and that'd be down multiple thousands of dollars, and that's not a situation I want to be in. Anytime I'm in the red by a couple $100, a few $100, I want to cut out, and I want to be all cash and wait for a better entry because, again, I want that bull momentum in my favor, and I want to be green right when I'm entering that trade. So I had one more flip up here where it was 288 and it was on this big bull volume pouring in. So I entered again at 288 and then got right out at 292. So that's just racking up another $4 of profit and just quickly getting out and taking that to the bank, although I'm slowly cashing out at this point, still keeping a lot of funds because there are a lot of opportunities left. So that's where we are at now on Ethereum, and that support is very important to me, this 275. If we break that level, I am much more confident. So again, technical analysis is not predicting the future. It's tilting the odds in our favor. So let's say my odds right now are 50-50 that I feel like our lower high has been set here, this 4-hour time frame that shows it clearly, setting our lower high just under 300. Let's say I'm 50-50 at that right now. That's about right. And what is going to change those odds? If we break 275 on this consolidation, I'll instantly go up to 80% that we have set our lower high, and we're going to pull back from here. So we're going to be watching on this 4-hour chart for the next 2 days for this tightening pattern to continue to play out, and we're going to see a clear break of this tightening pattern sometime this coming week. And if it is a bullish break, it is going to be a very significant bullish break, and we're going to get a nice, trading opportunity where we're going to see a move back to the mid 300s. And that is if we see a break of this lower high pattern, and right now 323.69 is that lower high. Maybe 293.73 is our new lower high. If we continue to pull back, the ranges to be watching are the low of the initial pullback this morning of 253.23 and our lower high up here at 293.73. That is the most important range for me in the short term that I'm watching. Let's move on to some other tickers here. Spending a lot of time on Ethereum. I'm not going to go this in-depth into these other names, and that's just because I'm this familiar with Ethereum because I'm constantly watching the charts and constantly trading it. So for Bitcoin, weekly time frame, also a doji, and I favor the bulls on this doji as well, but you can see it's pretty much the exact opposite candlestick of last week. Profit taking last week with a close and open at the same level, and buying the dip this week with the close and open at the same level. So this does favor the bulls in my opinion, but we have this equilibrium pattern so much more clear on Bitcoin than it is on Ethereum. And again, that's because Ethereum on the daily time frame, if we zoom out, set a lower low. And I was looking at this level here, 356. We set a lower low. So we only have a short-term equilibrium pattern for Ethereum, which has been playing out for the past 9-10 days. Bitcoin's equilibrium pattern has been playing out for weeks and weeks, almost 3 weeks at this point. We have our high, low, lower high, higher low, and potentially we're scouting out for where this lower high is going to be. Same scenario with Ethereum. We're not exactly sure if we have hit that lower high yet at this point, so we zoom in and try to get more details. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, I can see that we have a big upper wick of profit taking on this current candlestick. Our lower high was established up here at 2605, and we might have a new lower high at 2545. So we can see our tightening range, and our key support right now is 2385. So let's move that a new support line to that level. 2385 is our most recent higher low, and our most recent lower high is going to be that 2605 level. And depending on how the short term goes heading into tonight, maybe a new lower high right here. We have to be watching the hourly time frame. and we want to see increasing bear volume if we want to believe that our top is in. On the hourly time frame here, that's a bearish reversal doji currently being confirmed. Our higher low pattern on the hourly is breaking, and we're seeing some pretty solid bear volume. We're halfway through this current candlestick in terms of time expired, and we already have over 60% of the previous candlestick's volume. So we are likely to see increased bear volume. And again, I'm estimating the volume of the current candlestick, the amount of time expired in the candlestick. And if we can say that we're halfway through and we just double the time and double the volume, we're going to see an increase in bear volume this candlestick. So that's just some volume estimating using time. And we're seeing this pullback now. So because of this increasing volume, if that is how it shows up, I will be slightly more increasing the odds that our lower high has been set. So what I am going to be doing is extremely cautious, trading clear little, $2 to $4, $2 to $5 flips, and waiting for this break of this equilibrium pattern on Ethereum's daily time frame, because I think it is going to give some significant opportunity, and hopefully it is a bull break, so that opportunity is easier in my opinion because I'm more comfortable going bullish. LTC on the weekly time frame. This candle is certainly bullish after consolidation, bulls buying the dip and closing very strong on the weekly time frame. So the daily time frame, same pattern is forming. So we've got our low of the pullback after our all-time high. Let's put this up at the all-time high. So that was our widest range. Then we set a lower high on the initial bounce attempt. Then we set a higher low. So the most recent range that we are watching is resistance of 43.44 and support of 37.15. We are currently still within this channel, and we're asking ourselves the same question. Has our lower high been set? The 4-hour time frame, if we see further pullback and we head down towards $40, then I would say our lower high has been set, and our range, if that is the case, will be 41.99 resistance and 37.15 support. So we can stay within this range for another day or two, but again, everything's going to tighten up, and when things tighten up and when we consolidate, the opportunity is harder, and this is when people overtrade. This is when people try and enact the same game plan that they've had on high volatility times, and it bites them and they get back their profit. We need to recognize when volume, volatility, and range are dropping off, and we need to adjust our game plan for that. We need to scale back our trading. So when we're on the way up here on that big bull move where we bounced from 206, I was trading like a madman, way more trades than I've made since that top was hit. So I'm scaling back. I'm taking it easy. I'm not forcing any trades. I'm very happy with the profit I've made so far, and I don't sit there and think, oh, if I just did this, I could have made this amount. I'm never going to be perfect, and I just want to keep locking in those gains and keep those consistent gains coming in. I think I'm 4 for 4 today, and did I nail the bottom to the top? No, but can't get much better than 4 for 4. So patiently waiting for a new opportunity and knowing that we are tightening up. That opportunity might not come until we see a break of the equilibrium pattern. I've been trading Golem a little bit. Golem has pulled back significantly. This is the 4-hour chart, and we've been pulling back very significantly. Let's zoom out like we've done with everybody else. The weekly time frame for Golem. Get rid of that candlestick. So the bulls are buying the dip here. We had support down at 16.75, and we bounced off of 16.5. That is a lower low, but you can see the bulls are buying that dip a bit, and the volume is dropping off here as we consolidate. So not ready to call that bearish just yet because we did break to a lower low. I'm certainly keeping my eye on it, but on the daily time frame, I'm watching now a bit of an equilibrium pattern, not really as clear. We have our recent low down here where we dumped and hit those 16s. We have our current bullish reversal candlestick on the daily. This has to be confirmed. We have another 24 hours, 23 hours until we get the full day of trading here, but we need to confirm this candlestick and break 19.5 and see a higher high over yesterday and confirm it with increasing bull volume to give confidence that the bulls are showing up. So volume was 3 million. We need to see that significant amount and try and head back to the upside. And I currently just made some entries after selling in the low 20s, and I bought back in. I don't know what my average is at this point. GDAX really needs to update that to tell us what our averages are. I'm scaling into all of my positions. So I get the rough ideas in my head with doing the rough math of what the averages are, but need to be easier. So what we have here on Golem, I entered at mid 18s and then upper 17s. And what we see here is a break of the lower high pattern. So now we have a break of the lower high pattern. So now we're going to anticipate that we're going to set higher lows and higher highs and shift this momentum back to favoring the bulls. It's a bit of a laggard in the sense that the bounce has already occurred more significantly in all three of those other names, and we are correlated to some degree. Bullish MACD cross on the 4-hour chart, and we do have our higher low established now with that higher low at 17.2. But we need to see continuation. This is not a strong bounce yet at this point. Need further follow through to reverse this trend. So that's what we've got heading into the start of the new week. And I appreciate you all watching, and I will put out that information on when I'm going to do that live stream as soon as I have something solidified. I appreciate you all watching. Thanks for the shares and the likes and the comments and all that fun stuff, and I will see you soon.